Hello everyone, it's Audrey Miller with Northwest Wisconsin Realty Team out of Hayward, Wisconsin. And in this video today, we're going to talk about short-term rentals in the Hayward and surrounding areas. Maybe you've been thinking about purchasing a short-term rental and you're kind of wondering what's involved or how much you can possibly make from renting that property. So we're just going to go over some information on that today, and I hope you enjoy this video. So I think the first thing that you need to know regarding vacation rentals is whether or not that's a popular thing in and around the Hayward area. The answer to that is a resounding yes. There are many people seeking weekly or maybe a few week accommodations in the Hayward area for various reasons. A lot of times it's vacation pleasure purposes, but there could be other reasons as well. The lakefront properties are obviously the most desirable and garner the highest prices when you have a vacation rental. But otherwise, there's lots and lots of off-water vacation rentals that do very well also. So I'm going to dive into that in a little bit as well. And if you like what I have to say here on my Living in Hayward channel, if you can please follow, like, or subscribe, or feel free to share my channel with somebody else as well, as there's always new content coming out, and I talk all about living and real estate in the Hayward, Wisconsin area. Again, I'm Audrey Miller, broker owner of Northwest Wisconsin Realty Team, and you can always text, call, email me for help with your property search or more information on all matters related to living in Hayward, Wisconsin. So first of all, if you're considering purchasing a short-term rental property, maybe you want to use it a little bit for yourself and then you want to rent it out the rest of the time to help with the mortgage payment and the property taxes. I can give you a little overview of prices in our area. And this is actually just gleaned from the Verbal website. So that is my source of information. You can do your own research there as well. In our area, we have what is called the 100-day season for short-term rentals. And that is from Memorial Day to Labor Day. Most people that I talk to who have short-term rentals do not have an issue renting it out at almost full occupancy for that time period. That's obviously the heart of the vacation time frame in our area when the weather is the nicest and all of that. But if you obtain a property that either has access to the snowmobile trails or maybe even it's off water and people will rent it in spring or fall, you can definitely extend the season somewhat. But I think when you're running numbers, it's good to base it off of nearly full occupancy for those 100 days. And anything you get beyond that would be considered a bonus in the scope of your income for the property. And sometimes maybe you're not looking to make a lot of money off of it. You want someone else to manage it, which there are companies in our area that do that. They'll do full management, which includes like the cleaning service, any repairs that need to be done, doing all your bookings and all of that. Or maybe you want to do your own bookings because you can do that from a distance, but have a property management company help you with the cleaning and any repairs or things that need to be done around the property. So there are definitely options for that. You can contact me for some names and recommendations when it comes to the property management side of things. But if you're wanting to use it for yourself, maybe even just a month out of the year, and you're renting it the rest of the time, maybe you're not trying to make a huge profit, but you just want to help with your costs and have your own summer cabin to use. So those are some different ways that people are utilizing short-term rentals in our area. But circling back to the 100-day rental window, that is by far the most popular time of year and when short-term rentals are mostly used. So in our area, you'll have anywhere from a property on one of the premier lakes, such as Round Lake or La Coudray or Grindstone, on a property and a home that can house up to 12, 14, 16 people. You may get as high as $3,500 to $4,000 per week for that rental property. That's kind of on the top end of the price point. And then it goes the whole way down to a little under $100 a night. There's not many properties at all on water or off water that you can rent for under $100 a night in our area in the short-term rental market. And there's a wide range in between there, depending on how many people you can sleep in the house, the amenities, and the location, off water, on water, etc. A mid-sized house on a mid-sized lake, you may rent it out. Again, using Verbo as my source of information, you may rent it out for $1,500 to $2,000 a week, and then anywhere in between there, depending on the size of the home and the lake. I will say that one thing I've learned is people who are renting lakefront vacation properties really like if the frontage is swimmable. It's often families, they have kids, maybe pets. They want to be able to get in the water right at the property. So that's something to consider when you're looking for what you would like to purchase in terms of a short-term rental. And then another question I get a lot is, how easy is it to get a short-term rental license in Sawyer County? What are the requirements? And they're really pretty basic. You can find these requirements on the Sawyer County zoning website, and you just go to the portion regarding tourist rooms and boarding, or maybe it's even called short-term rentals, and you can look up this information. But bottom line, there needs to be some requirements met. You have to have insurance for the property, of course. You need to obtain a license through Sawyer County. They need to do a few safety inspections. They need to make sure that you're not having more people in the home than what is allowed according to the requirements, which are currently based on cubic feet per person. So it's 400 cubic feet per adult, 200 cubic feet per child. And even if you have a camper on the property for additional guests, you cannot exceed the measurements of how many people that they allow within a house or property, you could say, for the short-term rental license. The licenses are required anytime a property changes hands, or if you're starting out with a short-term rental on a property you already owned, you need to apply for the initial license. That's $250. And then it is renewed every year in April, and the annual renewal is $200. So it's very affordable. It is not difficult to obtain, and there's not a lot of additional restrictions around it, other than if you purchase a property. This especially applies to condo properties, but anything that might be in an HOA or association that does not allow short-term rentals, that is one of the big things to watch for. You don't want to purchase a property thinking that rentals are allowed, and then find out they aren't. But standalone properties that are not part of any association or HOA only have the county rules that apply to them, and the county rules here are pretty generous towards short-term rentals at this time. I will say that I've heard some talk about there being some restrictions placed on septic sizes versus how many people are allowed to sleep in a house. As far as I know, none of this has become law or has passed, but that might be something to think about as well, that you are having a septic that is large enough to accommodate the bedrooms you're using and the number of people that you plan to have staying there. There's a few other requirements that Sawyer County has, but they are fairly minimal and kind of common sense, such as you have to pay any applicable taxes. You have to have, I already mentioned, proof of insurance. You have to have contact numbers available for the owners of the property. You need to keep your parking on the property, not on the roads by the property. Campfires must be attended. Trespass laws must be abided by. No fireworks allowed, just some other minimal requirements like that. So if you're thinking about getting an investment property in the area, or maybe a property that you want to use yourself and then rent out, get a hold of me and I can help you search for a great property for that. I will say that the properties closer to Hayward do get the highest prices per night. The Premier Lakes get the highest prices per night. But even a cabin in the woods that is, maybe sleeping 4 or 6 people can go for $115 to $150 per night, even off water. So there is lots of rental opportunity. The other area that I want to mention is the Cable Sealy area. If your rental property has access to the ski trails and the bike trails, that's another big draw on those properties. You can get a little more per night versus the other off-water properties. Of course, we have our annual events here in Hayward where short-term rentals are in very high demand. The Birkebeiner is probably the #1 for that, but then we have the Lumberjack Show. In July, we have the Fat Tire Races and many other area events that draw people from out of town. And those are times when there might be an especially large spike in the need for short-term rentals. So yes, please follow me, like, subscribe, or share my channel. And as always, feel free to reach out to me for questions regarding this subject or any others about living in Hayward and the real estate market in Hayward.